Hello, dear viewers. We are now in the library of New Economic School of Georgia, and in this library we decided to record the video to our guest, Michael, who came in Georgia yesterday, and today we have discussion about the economic situations, the business situation in our country and in USA. Certainly he is from USA and he can say us interesting things about business situation in America, and we can compare the situation in Georgia and in America, how it's going on. Now I hope Mr. Michael will introduce himself. Hello, Mr. Mike.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Michael Carnuccio. I'm a strategic advisor with the Atlas Network, but I'm also an entrepreneur and own about a dozen different businesses in Oklahoma and throughout the United States.
It's very interesting. Yes, what kind of businesses do you have there?
So everything from a consulting business, some real estate, coffee, and then also private equity investment firms where we will invest into other businesses and get involved there. And then most recently, a barbecue company in Bavaria. Mm-hmm. We make smoker machines for breweries throughout Bavaria.
Okay, so we spoke about these questions yesterday, and
yes.
It was quite interesting for me. It's very interesting to have many different businesses. Certainly, I would like that as many people as they could have businesses, because if many businesses do, if many people do their businesses well, the situation in the country is much better than it would be without it. So I have my own business too. I can say to inform you, maybe I have not said yet, I have furniture business here in Georgia. My company imports the furniture materials from different countries, also some furniture, and we produce furniture in Georgia. I work in that company, and by the view of Georgian, it's quite a big company, maybe middle-sized company for Georgia, our company. So looks like we meet here two persons who has their own business, and also these two persons work in education segments too somehow, because I work in education segment too, cooperating with the New Economic School, and it's quite interesting thing for me too.
I find that the more that you get experience in business and are passionate about creating opportunity for others and opening new businesses or maybe expanding a business, there are policies, there are regulations, there are taxes, there's challenges that a business goes through. And so the more that we can partner and be involved in education and helping people understand the best public policy to grow an economy and create opportunity for others, the better for all. I don't think you and I are involved in a classical liberal or free market discussion about public policy because it benefits us. We're involved because we want others to have an equal opportunity to have a business and to create jobs.
Yes, the two people cannot understand sometimes that bureaucracy does not increases economy. Economy increases private enterprise system and enterprisers. So it's very important not to make problems for them to make. So first of all, very interesting thing is that in USA you don't have a tax like this. VAT tax. Right. So we have this VAT tax, but you have turnover tax,
Yeah, so in the United States, we don't have a VAT, a value-added tax overall. Some states may adopt their own tax, like a VAT tax. We have corporate taxes, property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes on consumption, and state by state, those will vary.
Yes, I was very surprised that when I was in Texas, they have not income tax.
Correct.
But they said that they have property taxes about 25% or something like this.
Yeah, property taxes in Texas are higher, but without an income tax, the individual keeps more money so they can spend more on their property. The other thing the property tax, collecting it locally does, is it keeps the public funding local roads, schools, police. When you charge an income tax, that goes to the federal government or it goes to the state, and then they take a piece and they send it elsewhere before it comes local. So if you look at the state of Texas, which is the 11th largest economy in the world, just Texas, it is so powerful and so strong. Texas is, all of its local communities are strong. They have good roads, they have good public safety, they have good infrastructure, and it's because they have good health care, and it's because they have more resources locally.
Yes, it's very interesting. I also was said that it's possible somehow not to pay these property taxes there.
Yeah, they have. They'll have certain limitations, or they'll have certain offsets if they're attracting a business, or more importantly, for a senior citizen maybe that's trying to live that's on a fixed income. But I think the most important thing in Texas, with its tax code, trying to be competitive. If you are a large business or corporation, or you're an entrepreneur starting your company, if you're living somewhere that is going to take 5, 6, 10%, in California, 13% income tax, if they're going to take 13% of your wealth before you bring it home, and that limits your consumption capability, the vehicle, the home, the food that you can buy. You would prefer to start your business and go to some place that won't take that. That'll leave you with more power, purchasing power.
Yes, as I know, many businesses are moving from California to Texas because
Correct.
of this reason. Yes.
Yep.
It's very interesting situation in USA because it's quite big competition between different states
Yes.
in USA.
Yes.
So it maybe it helps to save better circumstances for all of them.
Yeah, the competitive marketplace of the states continues every year. There's competition for jobs, for people, quality of life. Oklahoma, where I'm from, is the state just north of Texas. And so Oklahoma has been reducing its tax code, eliminating or trying to eliminate its income tax because we're competing with Texas. But Oklahoma wants to keep its property tax level low, and so it tries to find a balance there.
If they eliminate income tax, then they win in this competition with Texas.
They would. If they eliminated their income tax and kept their property tax low, they would have a better tax code than Texas would.
Here is an interesting question. Income tax is federal tax, yes?
It is federal and state. Both the state charges an income tax and the federal government charges an income tax, so you have to pay to both. And in some major cities in the United States, some major municipalities, they also charge a local income tax. Oklahoma does not.
Okay, I understand this, but how Texas manages that they don't pay federal tax, federal part of income tax?
So you do pay the federal income tax. You don't pay the state income tax.
They don't have state income tax, but
Texas,
federal tax they do
but
pay.
federal tax, they do have to pay it.
How much is
all
it?
50 states have to pay the federal income tax.
How much is it? It should be same for all.
It is the same, and it's weighted depending on your income
Yes.
bracket.
I understand. It's progressive.
It's a progressive tax, correct.
It's crazy system.
it
I
is.
don't like this.
It is, and there's so many loopholes and ways to. Yeah.
It was like this here too, 22 years old, 23 years ago. It was changed. Reforms happened here, tax code reform. As I remember, 2004 or 2005, and we came to flat tax system, and flat tax system is
much
better than this progressive system. I remember the problems from that side because you have to calculate the income for for each month, how much
Yeah.
should it be and how much should it be taxed.
Right. Right.
Okay, so I think we missed your aim. Why did you come to Georgia? Because we continue directly about USA system.
Yeah, so there's two things that I'm very passionate about. One is finding ways to help organizations that are working on education about economic policy. I've been interested in the work of the new economic school for a while, and so excited about the opportunity to come and partner with them and look at their new program, the Georgian Voices of Global Liberty, where they work with students to tell stories of Georgian voices that had an impact on not just public policy, but the cause of liberty. Very excited about that program, so that's why I came here. The other thing that I'm passionate about is trade. How do we have more trade? How do we have a freer trade system? I think when two cultures, two geographies, two different people's background can share in what they have with each other, we become stronger. There's less conflict between the two of us. We want to help each other out. So those two things are what bring me to Georgia.
If everyone share their knowledge and if everyone trade to each other, no war would be in the world.
Exactly. Exactly.
Would be nice.
It would be nice, right?
But
We've got a long way to go. Right.
Yes, we have too much to do to reach to this situation. Okay, so I have sent yesterday a case about my company.
Sure.
So sometimes I think how this situation would continue in USA if USA happened like these things that without any reason maybe a tax department begin or revenue department maybe how it's called in USA I don't know exactly, but if they begin somehow calculate your tax not correct way, but something different situation, and they want to tax you 10 times more than you should pay, for example. What can you do?
Yeah, so in the United States, it would be the Internal Revenue Service. The IRS is the Federal Bureau of Taxation. Yes. And then your state would be your state tax commission. Those are the two. And in this situation that you had described, as I understood it, would be a federal tax scenario. You would have the right to appeal and the ability to appeal and go through a process, and it may end up going to the judiciary. Your first appeal goes through the IRS, right? They are the arbiter of that decision. It's a very bureaucratic process. But ultimately, if the decision or the final ruling that comes down to them you don't find fair and you still have just cause, you do have standing to take it into the judiciary system, and that would probably go to a federal district court because it's a federal issue. At the state level, same scenario. Your first appeal is with the bureaucracy itself, the state tax commission. If there's no successive finding there, it may be kicked over into, it may be the Court of Civil Appeals, but it would move over and you'd have your ability to go through the judiciary. The problem for most businesses, and I don't know if I think it might be the same here in Georgia, unless you're a very big business where you can absorb the cost of this, medium businesses and small businesses, the more time it takes to appeal, the more the judiciary process, it costs money. And time is also money for a business.
Yes, certainly. How much time does it take merely?
Yeah, it could take, if you're at the federal level, it could take a year, 18 months. It could take a few years with the IRS. They move very slow. They have a lot of activity. It could move very slow. I think this is similar to your situation.
So as you have said, as I understand correctly, you should have a commission, or how do you like, revision from federal system and from state system together. They can come together, actually.
It usually
maybe it does not happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. If there's a dispute on the tax, you either have a dispute with the IRS on the federal tax, or you have a dispute with the state on the state tax, how they operate it. And so when you're appealing You're appealing with one or the other, not together.
What's interesting.
One level of government is hard enough. Two would be a nightmare at the same time.
So now I think for my case, if I have to have like this situation with local government, would be much heavier for me, because to have deal with the system, bureaucratic system, as you know, I say here too.
Right.
To one bureaucracy is one big problem, and to have it two, it's
it's even more question. Right.
So for my case, I have sent this case to you. For my case, it continues almost 12 years. In September, it will make 12 years this year. So, and I don't know if it ends this. I don't think this year it can be ended. So I will have appellation soon, and so on. It will continue. Yeah. But what can I do? I don't know. What would you do in USA if it continues so long? Yeah, it's maybe catastrophe for business.
Yeah, usually in the appeals process and when you're going through, there are deadlines that each side will have until a certain point to respond. So if I don't like the determination with the IRS and I appeal, I have till a certain time to be able to appeal. Once I exercise that right and make my appeal, then they have a certain amount of time they have to respond. If they don't, it goes in my favor. If they do, and they still disagree, then it goes to the next stage and there's a time frame. So it can't just drag on with no answer, no reason, no result. You have to have incremental, because otherwise, on the one hand, the government, if it needs the public funding, the taxation, it's missing out on those funds. On the other hand, the business can't be stuck or strapped, having to either hold on to cash or not being able to know their future. You have to have an answer to be able to move forward. So everything is set up with timelines and guardrails that require each side to respond.
I'm listening to you, and I think some limitation of time we have here too. Because when they begin to check your documents, they have some time. It also depends on the kind of revision. For example, if they come to your office and sit there, they have 5 plus 2 months or 3 plus 2 months or something like this, no more. But if they check your cameralul, I don't know how to say it in English, when they check your documents back office in the system, they have no limitation in this time, as I know. But anyway, they have limitation, but also somehow they manage postpone this limit or prolong it, how much they want. So when I think how can I finish, how can I end this situation, I cannot find solution yet. So I decided to speak about this loudly. So I fit it in this list, this question, and I ask everyone, how would you do in USA if they prolong this checking process so long?
Yeah, there are attorneys, there are special counsel that work specifically on tax code issues and coordinating with the Internal Revenue Service. And so if it started to drag on too long outside of the control that I had as a business owner, I would engage one of those parties on my behalf to try to get some resolution and to try to exercise my rights within the code to be able to do so. I'm not sure that I've heard of a tax dispute with especially a state government, but even the IRS that would last 12 years. That I don't know how that would work for either party. Yeah.
So here is one more problem with my case. I have quite serious doubt that the tax department officer tries to specially makes problem for my company. So she writes the things it's not correct. Actually, even arithmetic plus minus percentages is not calculated correctly in her writing.
Right.
So I think he has some special interest against me or against my company. I don't know why, but looks like so.
Yeah.
So what can I do against
Yeah,
her?
you're touching on a bigger problem. That is when the state, when a public entity and an official with the public entity has unchecked power, then all of a sudden power can be manipulated or abused for personal or preferential instead of equitable scenarios. And at some point in the United States, what we end up doing if there's a problem that continues to go against the halls of government and the bureaucracy that we can't get reform, we will start a public communications campaign and we will start putting pressure back on the government. Because in a system where you have elected representatives that are supposed to represent the people, if you make a big issue out of something that they have to represent, then they start working on your behalf to make change. That could be threatening to the job of a bureaucrat, and so at times they'll start paying attention.
So that means that you have not any legal solution for this problem. Because I think I have doubt this is crime from their side.
Yeah. So in your situation, I would say one of two things. One, this is 1 year, 12 years ago, and every year since, you've still been filing taxes and doing your work. So if this got to a judicial scenario in front of a court, the body of evidence would show that you know how to calculate taxes and you're paying your taxes, right? So this is an outlier year. So then you have to ask the question, why? And is it your documentation or is it hers? In the United States, there would be judicial, it's not just the process, but there are thousands of taxpayers every year that sue the federal government, that file lawsuits against the federal government for the interpretation of the rules.
And how long does it continue after you sue?
Yeah.
If it will continue decades, for example.
Yeah, I don't know that it lasts a decade. It can last a couple of years because there's so many of those checks.
Also, I know that tax code in USA is much bigger than our code.
It is, yes, it's correct. Yeah, one of the challenges the United States has with our tax code, and this is at the federal level, but also at state levels, is instead of making adjustments to reduce a tax over time to be competitive, we have continued to manipulate our tax code, picking winners and losers. This is a challenge where we create incentives or exceptions that will go to some and not others. And so our tax code gets longer and longer and pretty convoluted. In fact, that's a pretty big challenge for a small or medium-sized business that doesn't have the expertise or have a staff of attorneys that this is all they do. Accountants and attorneys work with IRS.
It's very, very tough situation.
Yeah, and I should point out all of the businesses that I am involved in, that I have ownership with, that I have started, they are all small businesses. One may be able to be considered medium, but almost all are small businesses. So I'm used to operating in this realm where you have to be nimble, and I know that the cost of doing business sometimes with government is prohibitive.
So here is the situation. Maybe the cost of legal assistance or auditing or something like this may cost for the business more than they have profit in their business. So what can they do in this segment? Even if they win in the court, how about return or refund, or will it happen?
Yeah, a lot of times in those scenarios in the United States, part of the lawsuit or the challenge in the case would be that in this case, the defendant, the business, would be seeking relief, economic relief, or they would be suing for damages. They would seek damages and payment back
So they should continue the process, as I understand. Yes?
Continue the process as long as it makes sense. If they have a good case and they have good attorneys, they should continue the process as long as they can. Yeah, but it becomes cost prohibitive so much that this is why government gets away with it. To your point, the government official may know that this might not be worth it for you after a while, and so they'll win just by playing it out and making it cost you a lot, and that's not right.
Here is the question. So if you have deal with government with IRS or in a court, that means that it takes a big part of your time to be attended in this deal, because big companies certainly they may hire some big another juridical companies and use their service. But small companies cannot allow themselves like this service.
Correct.
So they should spend their time for this problem, which is not convenient because of their situation.
Right.
So that means during this 1 year, 2 years, or how much it prolongs, they cannot do their job normally.
Yeah, some of the best advice that I received when I started my first company was somebody told me, don't use a bank, get yourself a banker. So in the United States...
What does it mean?
What this means is instead of just putting my money in a bank and just being another one of a customer that goes in, there's somebody at the bank that I call and I work with, and before I start a business and I look at putting funding together, I can call and ask them if the bank would give me a loan or if the bank would charge interest or what services they would provide. Then I also went and got a lawyer. So I have a particular attorney that anytime I think about starting a company, I call them. Anytime I have an issue, I call this one person. And they may not have the expertise, but they will, know someone who does, and they'll be able to help me think through these situations. And then the last thing is a very good accountant. So one of my companies basically is the holding company for all the others. And there I have the relationship with a banker, a lawyer, and an accountant for all these matters.
So you mean that you should have banker in bank, and this banker will help in every question with financials. But yes, we have banker here too.
Sure.
Yes, I have very good relation in banks. Yep. And actually, to compare Georgian bank and American bank, I don't see. They are smaller, certainly, comparing with them. But the situation in Georgian banks is quite well.
Yeah.
And even if you use internet bank, Georgian bank has better system to communicate with American bank, because I had account in American bank, then I could compare.
Then you get into a situation outside of it where you as a citizen, as a business in the United States, have standing and have caused harm against the government, and so you are then suing the government. You're taking action against the government in the judiciary system. Yes, you go to court.
Yes, the same situation is here actually, because when you cannot make a final agreement with the IRS system, you can go to court. But the problem here is that court is government too, because they appoint all of them, no election here of judges and so on. But my question was a little bit different. If you go to court against federal IRS system, it's one case. And if you go to the court against state IRS system, it's another case. But you go to same court.
No. You would be in the state court system, the state judiciary. So
these systems are quite completely different systems, yes?
Correct. Yeah, they're completely different court systems, court dates, cases. Usually, if you have the same issue with the state as you do with the federal government, you'll go through the state system first. because ultimately, based on the U.S. Constitution, there are the supreme powers, right, that you could get to a point after the state where you can appeal to the federal government, right? So you would go through your state court system before you went to the federal system.
But anyway, both of them are elected on first level, as I understand.
At your local level, they're elected, and then your district attorneys get elected. But again, your justices at the federal level and the state level that are at the top, they're the ones that are appointed, nominated, appointed. The lower level are the ones that get elected.
Okay. Here is now like this question. If the judge is elected, he maybe can be good law maker or law knowledge person. But how can he understand the financial statements what we have with the IRS department or IRS system?
Yeah, so I want to be clear that I don't have a ton of experience through the judicial system, so some of it I might be a little foggy on, but a lot of times in court cases going through the judiciary process, one side or the other will have expert witnesses that they will call that can testify or present on.
But how can they understand in few days, for example, in few months? Because who understand the financial statement, they studied during years.
Yeah.
So I'd understand the system would be better if in election would be clear this position is for the judge who understands financial.
Right.
This position is who understand, for example, criminals or like this deals. This judge is who understand, for example, problems between citizens. 3 different judges and 3 different positions, and the elections, especially for the positions. I understand that this judge, as he is elected as financial judge, for example, call it financial judge, I understand that he would know. He should know.
Sure. Yeah, the district attorney's office will have assistant district attorneys that have specialties. You even have, in the attorney general's office at each state has an attorney general that is the top prosecuting attorney or defense attorney on behalf of the state. They have different attorneys, assistants that are experts in specialties. But the judiciary usually either has the group that sit together in the Supreme Court or the Court of Civil Appeals, or it has an individual judge that is hearing a case. So I understand the point you're making. Yeah.
Yes, it's very interesting point. I understand that problem should exist in USA too, but the main important is that if the judge is elected, he will try his best not to make mistakes, because in case of mistake, he will not be elected anymore.
Yeah, and what usually happens in the United States, let's say that I'm your lawyer, you're my client, and we have a case where we've brought before a particular judge. I'm going to know, as the lawyer, I'm going to know about this judge. I'm going to know what's their experience, how do they typically weigh on cases. So I am going to present evidence and call expert witnesses and do anything I have to help educate that judge and get their opinion. So if it has to do with a balance sheet and a financial sheet of a company and I don't think this judge knows about it, I may go get an expert witness, a chairman of the board of a major corporation, another business owner, somebody else from a university, someone that has studied in a business school, that has studied departments and companies and can talk about a balance sheet. I will call them to the witness stand to present and to confirm what the balance sheet is to try to help educate the judge.
So as I understand, you can choose which judge can decide your sue.
Yeah,
yes?
You can't always choose the judge. You can try to choose which court you're going into, but you can't always choose the judge. But if you get a judge that you draw that is one that you think doesn't understand your issue, you have the ability to call witnesses and present evidence and testimony to help educate the judge, just like you would educating a jury if it's a criminal case in front of your peers that you're upheld against.
Okay, interesting. Actually, we have a possibility here to refuse to the current judge, but you can never choose another one, and you don't know if you refuse for that one, will it be worse for you or best?
Yeah, ultimately, I think what we're talking about here, from my perspective, is the challenge with the situation you have right now in Georgia and the United States is the onus, the responsibility of proving innocence or proving is on the business. It should be on the government. The government should be the one that has to go, to all the effort in this process. Because what happens now is if I have to hire a lawyer and I have to get special testimony and present information, and I've got a long process that's very costly, it's very threatening to me as a business owner. So that scenario means most businesses just settle. They just try to settle and get out, and it's not productive.
You have spent money and time to prove your innocence.
Right.
I have written an article about this question and about this case, and also I have comparing some other cases, not published yet.
Yeah.
I think where to publish, and
I look forward to reading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking where to publish.
Sure.
But anyway, I'm not going to leave this subject without care. I'm going to work on it, and I hope you will help me too.
Yeah, I would like to. That'd be fun.
Because I need to have some different cases to compare them.
Sure.
And the main case would be this one, my case. Yeah. And I will take cases from different countries, like from Australia, for example, from Mexico, like this, how the situation looks like there. What is similarity and what is differences between the countries, and how can we find solution for each of them. Because
and what you're talking about there is back to what I said at the very beginning about trade and what I liked about it, right? That we meet each other, we learn about each other, we share, and out of that, we're both better for it. So I like your approach here.
Yes, so certainly, without communication, we cannot go ahead. Anyway, we have very big problem to make any step ahead, but anyway, we should. So it if you can make any advice for me for this case, how can I continue? What can I do here? If by maybe your imagination can help me to find some different way of how to deal with.
Yeah, my instinct tells me, and again, I don't have as much familiarity with the Georgian context, right? But there has to be a lawyer or an attorney or someone, maybe an elected official or somebody, that this is their specialty. They've worked on this before. They know what to do. They would get this case. They would look at it and they would say, wait a minute, 12 years? What is going on? They have to do this. They haven't done this. You've been wronged here, and they can take action. So my advice for you, if I were in your shoes, is I would try to find who is that person, and can I get them involved in my case and turn them loose on my behalf. It's a typical practice in United States business. When you run into issues, you're going to try to hire the best sales guy to go sell your product. You're going to try to hire a partner with the best vendor to produce part of your product, right? You're always doing that. So you're going to go try to hire the best, most experienced attorney to go deal with this issue and solve it. That would be how American business, how we would approach it.
Yes. So I have like these guys.
Ah, good.
Legal and audit, financial statement about financials too, but not enough. And I'm looking now to find another, maybe supporters or maybe maybe enemy, I don't know. For example, Omundsen office, I try to contact with them. I'll check. Also, I'll try to communicate with different system in bureaucratic system because they don't want to trust any authentic person or company. For example, the company Nexia TA, which is mentioned here, is has quite big qualification. It's an international big company, one of the fourth or one of the 10th. I don't remember now exactly their position, but it's big international companies, part of Georgia, and they say that it's possible, and you can tax with direct method. But they don't want to make like this because documents is too much, and they should work too much to make to find correct decision how much to tax because they don't want to work. Actually, I don't know how to push them to go to direct method. So I'm looking now, this court and appellation and so on is another one way. But I understand that all courts are appointed from the government. I cannot change them. I cannot change the system. But I don't want to pay the money because I have not to pay. I am, as you have said, and as I have said about my article, you should prove your innocence. And I try. I try every way. I try legal way. I try to appealing to different systems or
judicial
peoples.
system.
Yes. And also I try to prove it in academic system. I make the article. I'm going to continue it, and so I will publish them. It would not be good for the people in bureaucratic system if they are in academic field too, because judge also may want to have doctoral position, for example, PhD, for example, and I hope they would mind about this if published something against their decision.
Sure. Highlighting the issue, right, and making and that's why before I thought an elected official, somebody local, that if it became an issue the public was aware of and the public was threatened by or concerned about, then it's an issue they have to be concerned about because they're standing for election, right? That would be the other thing from a business strategy standpoint in the United States.
Yes, in the United States it's easier point because you can spread information against them during the election. But we have not like this election here, so I try to find another way. Right.
Yeah. It's hard, and not knowing the ins and outs of the Georgian context. I'll do some research, and then I can maybe send some recommendations on what to do or what I would suggest.
If you can find time, I can send it.
It'd be great.
You can read it, yes. It's not very big. I don't remember how many pages, but I will send it. Okay. Agreed.
That'd be good.
So I think it was very interesting discussion with you. If maybe we missed something, but we will have time next time, I hope, and so we can continue. But if you would like to add something now, you have time.
Well, I would just like to ask if you would be interested in coming on my podcast sometime and talking about being a business owner in Georgia versus the United States and what those two experiences are like.
I'd be happy to come.
Okay.
To visit you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, we'll do that. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very nice. Thank you.